When you first recommend a gacha game to a friend, what are the things that you highlight first and foremost? Sure, as with any game, it's going to be the obvious, right? Characters, gameplay, plot. Well, for a gacha game, you're going to mention the gacha system. Because a gacha game is a gacha game, and without mentioning the gacha aspect, you'd be doing your friend a disservice. Here are some things I personally mention with regards to the gacha system, and I suppose the monetization of a game. First, how does the gacha work? Is there a pity system implemented, and what are the rates? Secondly, directly tied to that is, how generous is the game with giving out rolls or currency? Is it viable to be free to play in the game, rolling every now and then and guaranteeing a new character as you clear the content? Or do you have to save like your life depended on it? Third, if that's all looking bleak, how viable are the tutorial characters? Can you beat the game with what you're given? And if so, does the game remain fun? And fourth, somewhat tangentially related to gacha, but how bad is the power creep? Recommending gacha games to a friend successfully is usually quite hard, because the friends in question have their own standards for how playable or enjoyable a gacha game is to them. Recently, I spoke to a friend about asking them to try my favorite gacha game, and yeah, that sounds horrible, I know, but his personal criteria for gacha games is 1. How good is the story? 2. How good is the gameplay? And those are extremely valid questions. It is a game after all. And then third, how's the stamina system and the dailies? I mean, if you're already bogged down by Mirror Dungeon, do you want to add Annihilation to the list? Eventually, the conversation headed towards the gacha system, which I explained. He responded he'd try it when the anniversary rolled around, which is fair. So let's talk about what happens during gacha game milestones, such as anniversaries or launch. Gacha game anniversaries are arguably some of the most lucrative for both developers and players, barring Genshin's first anniversary, I guess. Devs aside, new players are baited in to try the game due to the appeal of getting a lot of premium currency. And that's where we have our problem. My friend did say, if I don't start a game straight up from the beginning, I feel like I won't stick through with it. I mean, I wouldn't start FGO from the beginning either if I were 7 years behind. So as a compromise, starting during a generous milestone is second best. Do you see what I'm saying? Is the appeal of, or rather the validity of a gacha game in one's life tied to the premium currency? For a long time, I've lamented that not a lot of games have a built-in reroll system to prevent servers from becoming overloaded with people creating accounts and wiping them just so they can have a second chance to reroll for something better. And I'm not exempt from that group of people. I've rerolled in tons of games at launch because it's arguably the best time. I mean, I rerolled for Super Creek because I thought I'd actually play Uma Musume. But then I quit. Was the time I spent wasted? I don't know. I honestly don't know. But I like to rationalize that by saying, at least it was painless, and I only had to wipe my data like 3 times. Time is a precious resource. Is the time you spend rerolling for a meta character or a piece of equipment equivalent or worth the time you save in-game by having them? If it actually increases the time you spend in-game staring at your favorite unit because it's your wife or whatever, then more power to you. Sometimes I log into FGO to listen to Sephiroth's voice, so I get it. So you pour yourself into guides dedicated to the very important thing you must do to get a head start in a game that you don't know you'll stick to for more than a month. That's right. Launch tier lists, must-have units or equipment, reroll tech, and optimizations. Some people will roll for, the thrill of it, and I understand rerolling when you have a favorite character. But a lot of original intellectual properties launch with, well, original characters. So you don't quite know them outside of their design, maybe their voice acting, and, their kit. Can you even call them your favorite and blasphemously your waifu at that point? You've only known each other for the span of the tutorial at best. Some people will roll for meta that will shift a few months in. You're gonna abandon those units someday for a new shiny one anyway. Sometimes knowing less about a game just results in greater enjoyment. I'm the type of person who needs to know everything about a game before I start it, but now I actually try not to look at guides anymore unless I need specific reference or a question answered, and that's after I've started playing the game. It's overwhelming, especially for games with lots of mechanics or types of stats, such as Withering Waves. I am not reading damage spreadsheets. The last 5 or so gacha games I started were relatively unknown to me, and I enjoy them a lot more. I don't have to think about what tier my character is. I get to experiment and be frustrated with different teams, and I don't really care if I'm being inefficient with my time or resources. In fact, it feels so much better when you beat a difficult stage by yourself. Where's your desire to discover things? Do you need your hand to be held, and do you need to be spoon-fed all the way through? It is exactly because you have limited resources in a gacha game that you do these things. You don't do it for standalone buy-to-own games. You don't want to be spoiled for those. You want to discover the winning combinations on your own, because that is a part of those games. So now do you see the problem? Why are you wasting your time rerolling? Think about the time you've wasted on repeating those pointless and mostly futile attempts. Was that really worth the time you spent? Could you have done something better with your time, such as actually played the damn game? Ah well, I've made my point. So I'll see you during Morimen's second anniversary, keepers.